Right. So let's start with our basics in this test case. Okay. Now, so before we start, as I discussed in the previous section, there are two folders for us. One is test plan and other is workbench. So workbench is basically a rough work folder where you can do all kind of rough work, record the things here and then import it into your test plan, right? So whenever you execute, so it will execute only whatever is present in test plan, not in workbench. Okay, so remember that if you write something in workbench and if you expect that to run, it will not happen. You have to get it in test plan. Okay, so in this session, let's start the recording of our first basic script. Okay, so first we will go in a step-by-step procedure. We will record some script, then we will put load on it. Okay, so then we will understand how to put load on a script which we have written. So we'll start with the recording concepts here. Before that, you need to set a proxy for your browser to detect Jmeter, the recording one. Okay, for example, now you need to set the path. Okay, so click on the workbench, right click, add non-test elements. So the name itself says menu, it's non-testable. If you run it, this particular elements will not be tested. Okay, that's the reason we will write it in workbench. So select test script recorder, HTTP or HTTPS. So select the second option. Okay, after that you will see a window pane like this, right? So you can write it any customizable name, it's up to your wish. Let's stick with the default one which they have given for us. And now you need to set a port number value here. So this port number value should match with the proxy whatever you are setting in your browser. Okay, so logic behind here is your browser will have some port number. Okay, you will set a proxy for your browser by giving some 8080 port number, and you will say to Jmeter, start recording on the port number 8080. Okay, so then Jmeter will look for the browser which is performing actions on 8080 port number. As we have already configured our browser on 8080, so it will understand that okay, so this is my uh, port number and I should record the actions performed in this browser, and it will get recorded. For example, while setting proxy here, if you set some 7000 and if you give your 8080, it will not record because it's keep on searching for a browser which is running on 8080 port. Okay, so the whatever the information you provide here, the same proxy should be set in your browser too, on which you are recording. Now I am recording on Firefox, so set the proxy of Firefox before you start your recording. So this configuration is only for recording. Okay, don't confuse that. To run the script in a normal way, to put a load, you need not require any ports, any proxies, but just to record a script you need to set a proxy. Okay, now first we will go to the options. I think you all know familiar where you have proxy settings for your browser. You can just Google it, you will get, or just I'm sure that Firefox will be definitely there in your machine. Then just click on options and go to the network tab, settings. Here by default use system proxy settings will be selected. Now you just select manual proxy configuration, just radio button, and provide local host. Okay, and give any port number here, it's up to you. Now in my machine 8080 port is already blocked with some other application, that's the reason I'm going with 7070. Okay, so I'm saying I'm just configuring my proxy, local proxy server. Okay, select it and click on OK. Done. So proxy now set on my browser. Okay, so now let's go back to Jmeter and provide the same 7070 value here. Okay, if you provide the same value, then when the recording is started, Jmeter will look for the browser which is running on 7070 port. So once it is identified, then it will start detecting all the actions and it keep on recording the complete application. So whatever you perform on the browser, if you change the value, if you give 8080 and record, it will not record. Okay, just it's a caution for you to make sure to compare. Done. So once you set the port number here, the next one you need to reach out is target controller. Okay, where you need to actually record and produce the requests. Okay, once you record, all the steps will be recorded, right? Where do you need actually to place it? Either in test plan or in workbench. So that information we have here. You have a drop down where it says workbench HTTP test script recorder. If you select this, all the requests will be recorded here. Or if you select use recording controller option, this will be selected in test plan. Okay, if you use the first option, it will be in the test plan. So you will come to know what about controller, what is recording controller, that step by step we will come to know in all the sessions, coming all the sessions. So you need not worry. For now, let's record it in workbench itself. Let's record it here. Okay, it's a good practice to first record all the things in a workbench which is non-testable and make sure everything is as expected, and then go and paste it all in the test plan which is responsible for running and putting the load. Okay, we have selected target controller where we need to get our recording steps. And next, grouping. Do not group. This drop down is basically for, it basically groups the request. Now for example, if I want to log in Gmail, if I reach the particular Gmail website, that particular all request as grouped into one login. Okay, now after giving user ID password, if you click enter, it will log in. The login operation what it performed will be a group, and if you want to send a mail, sending mail will form a group. So put each group in a new controller, that will give us to put in separate folders, or if you don't want any groups, it will display plainly parallelly, right? But still, though you use put each group in a new controller, it will not say as a login module, send mail module. For example, in Gmail, what I'm explaining you, it will just put in a set in separate folders, and folders name will be word, which you need to understand and write it properly after recording. Okay, so it just puts in separate groups. So it will be easy for us to understand. Put each group in a new controller. Okay, so I'm just giving a conceptual light, I'm throwing conceptual light on it. Practically you will understand if I record one or two scripts what exactly grouping and what are folders and what are plain request and all. Okay, for now let's beat a put each group in a new controller. Okay, now that's it. This is the configuration we need. Okay, and one more, if you record the things, now example, I will record a Gmail login page or Google home page. If you navigate those pages, okay, Google will not be a big headache, but if you navigate any e-commerce website, there will be lot of images, lot of image banners and ads will be displayed on a page. So even those also, those requests, those also will be recorded, but which is not at all required for us. So our motto, our aim in Jmeter is to test the application. Okay, so by keeping all these ads and all, it will really bring a hectic headache on us to actually dig in the things. So that's the reason if you say ad suggested excludes, okay, even Jmeter itself, Jmeter guys has told that these are the extensions which are actually not required for us to run our Jmeter script. For example, .css files, JS files, .gif, all these are image extensions, PNG. Okay, So we can exclude this in our recording. Okay, if you include this, if you just log into a home page, if there might be a 40 to 50 images, all 40 to 50 images will be recorded, and the tree will be like big hierarchy. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, let me delete it. So how it will display, I'll show you. If you don't include, if you don't exclude those, okay, if you don't write this step, I'll show you how big the recording stuff will display. Okay, you will not at all understand what the hell is happening here. So many requests will come on a page. If you travel through 3 pages, you will see 100 recording requests. Okay, so on that 80 to 90 are not at all necessary for us. Those all are related to images, some banner files, ads. Okay, so what Jmeter has given flexibility for us here, you can exclude those. So in recording itself, we are saying click on add suggested excludes. It says URL patterns to exclude. Okay, that's it. That's the basic configuration you need to make to start the script.